My beloved child, I know that what I am about to say may cause your heart to tighten. I know that you are compassionate, sentimental, and deeply respectful of memories. But it is precisely because your heart is so profound that you must understand this. Some relationships no longer serve as a source of life, but have become burdens, weights that are quietly pulling you away from the light. And I, with all the love I have for you, cannot stand by and watch you lose your way. You must be strong and resolute in removing someone from your list of friends, not just from social media, but from the path of your life. For if you continue to hold on to them, it is as though you are inviting darkness to linger in a place meant to be the sanctuary of your soul. I am not saying that this person is evil, nor do I ask you to erase all the good memories. I know that you once trusted them, cared for them, gave them a place in your heart. But love, my dear, must also have boundaries. Some people come into our lives like a season, and when that season has passed, holding on only prevents new blossoms from blooming. They are no longer walking in the same direction as you. They no longer share your values, your beliefs, your vision, or the peace your soul needs to grow in the holiness I have chosen, especially for you. You were once a radiant lamp lit by my love, shining brightly amidst the darkness of the world. But now, that light is slowly dimming under influences that no longer nourish your soul. This person brings you nothing but confusion, anxiety, unrest, and at times, even a loss of direction. Every interaction drains you. Every word exchanged feels like your heart is being suffocated in a space where joy has no room to breathe. This is not what I want for you. Beloved, you were made to live fully in the light, to walk with strength and confidence, and not to carry burdens you were never meant to heal. Blocking them is not an act of cruelty, but one of loyalty not to me, but to the beautiful essence I placed within you. Do not confuse kindness with weakness. Do not believe that love means holding on at all costs. True love must also have wisdom, boundaries, and respect for your own soul. Removing someone from your life is not the end of goodness. It is the beginning of a meaningful maturity. It says, I know who I am. I know how I deserve to live. And I will not allow anyone to wound the light within me. Remember the times you felt depleted after speaking with them. The moments you questioned yourself, wondering if you were wrong to keep trying to hold together something that had already broken from within. How many times did you feel like a stranger to yourself in their presence? You were once a noble soul, one who could smile in storms, one who could rise even in hardship. But now, you are quietly losing that essence, all because you are clinging to a bond that has rotted from its core. And I, the Creator, cannot bear to watch you trade your sacredness for something that no longer brings life. Life is a journey, and along the way, some people will walk with you, some will stay behind, and some must leave. No one can accompany you through the entire path, except for me. So you must learn to let go at the right time. Not because you no longer love, but because you are learning to love yourself more fully. You need space to heal, to grow, to welcome those who are meant to journey with you next, those who bring strength, steadiness, and true communion. I do not ask you to become cold or callous. I ask only that you grow in emotional wisdom. When you learn to discern and protect what is sacred within you, that is when you begin to step more fully into who you are, the one I called by name, loved with my whole heart, and watched over even before you were formed. If you keep clinging to relationships that are no longer healthy, You will gradually lose your clarity, your discernment, and drift from the deep calling I whisper to you each day. Imagine your soul as a garden. The good seeds need light, fresh air, and fertile soil to grow. But if you keep letting thorns invade, if you keep watering what is already withered, how can life thrive? I want you to clear that garden, not because I am harsh, but because I know what is best for you. Blocking someone does not mean hating them. It is how you respect their path and remain faithful to the one I carved uniquely for you since before your life began. My beloved child, I understand the pain of parting. I know the hollow ache of seeing someone who was once close begin to drift away. But that pain is not the end. It is merely part of the refining process. Just as the blacksmith places iron into the fire to strengthen it, you are being shaped to become stronger, sharper, and more steadfast. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that the moment you let go was the moment you were reborn brighter, freer, and closer to me. Walk on in trust. Place your hand over your heart and close your eyes. Listen to each beat as my whisper to you. I am here. I have never left. And you are not alone. Even if you must let someone go, you were not born to please everyone. You were born to live fully in the sacred purpose I gave you. And anything that hinders that, no matter how close the bond, must be released with courage. My precious child, these words do not come from anger, nor from resentment or narrowness of heart. They arise from a place so deep, a place where my heart aches when I see your soul withering. When I feel each invisible wound you silently endure, I cannot watch any longer. I cannot stay silent while my own heart breaks alongside yours. For you are suffocating in a silence you thought was peace, but is truly the grip of a relationship that is no longer whole. And I know you have tried. I see it all. I hear it all. Not one tear you've shed in silence has escaped my attention. Every whispered prayer in the dark I have held close. I've seen you hoping again and again for a change, for warmth, for even a flicker of love from them. You always believed that love could redeem, that your patience could stir their heart. But I say this not to stop you from loving, but to help you start loving rightly, beginning with loving yourself. I know how often you've blamed yourself. You thought maybe if you were better, they wouldn't be distant. You've shrunk your own heart, dulled your voice, and softened yourself just to be accepted. You thought love meant sacrificing like that, meant enduring, meant accepting pain. But true love does not make you a shadow. It does not require you to dim your own light so another can shine. It does not demand that you wear yourself down just to hold on to someone. If a relationship requires you to deny yourself to be loved, then it is not love, it is dependency, masked as affection. You've made excuses for them, told yourself they were tired, under pressure, that their harsh words were accidents. You found every reason to forgive, to keep hoping, but that only pulled you deeper into the spiral of pain. You thought, if only you could be gentler, love them harder, maybe things would change. But love should not hurt this much. Your heart was made to love, but not to be broken into a battlefield. I did not make you to live in constant conflict, circling through doubt, pain, and anxiety. I created your heart as a temple, sacred, radiant, filled with love and the joy of living. No one has the right to walk into that place and leave behind only scars and ashes. Face the truth you've been avoiding. They are no longer the right person for your heart. They do not value you the way you deserve. They are no longer worthy of the love you have quietly and faithfully offered in tears, in waiting, in silence. I know you're not asking for perfection, just sincerity, but you gave your whole heart to someone who could not care for it. And I, your creator, cannot be silent while you continue to erode your sacred temple just because you're afraid of losing someone you should have released long ago. I do not blame you. You are simply a tender heart, full of trust and hope. And for that reason all the more, I want you to protect yourself. Real love does not make you doubt your worth. It does not silence your inner voice just so others won't feel disturbed. I did not make you to bow your head in love, but to lift it high, strong, radiant, and loving with dignity. You do not need to shrink yourself to be more lovable. You do not need to go quiet to be more bearable. You do not need to twist yourself to fit into a heart that has no room for you. True love does not make you smaller, it helps you grow. Be free and become whole. So today, I ask you to stop. Stop hurting yourself to hold on to someone who is no longer really there. Stop making excuses for their neglect. Stop before you lose the most beautiful parts of yourself. True love is not born of lonely endurance, but of mutual care, understanding, and gentle companionship. I do not want you to take even one more step down a road filled only with wounds. You do not need to sacrifice yourself any further to prove your love. You have done enough. You have loved enough. And now is the time to return to me, to your own heart, and to the peace you were always meant to live in. My beloved child, a temple is no place for violence, whether it is expressed through words, silence, or indifferent glances. Your heart, which I have chosen as my dwelling place, cannot continue to endure what violates its sacred nature. You are not at fault for loving. Your only mistake was forgetting that you too deserve to be loved in the same way you give love to others. Return to yourself. Care for that sacred temple as you would a treasure. Guard it against what brings you harm, even if that means letting go of someone you once loved deeply. And I will be here in every breath you reclaim after days that felt suffocating, in every heartbeat that slowly revives, in every step you learn to take again on a path that no longer includes them, but includes me, and includes you whole, beautiful, and worthy of being loved with all the gentleness the world can offer. I have never left, and I never will. All you need to do is release what causes pain, so your hands are free to grasp what brings healing. My dearest one, do not pretend you feel nothing, or that the bleeding wounds in your soul are fleeting. I know more deeply than anyone else how weary you are, and I speak to you now with all love and all truth. What you are going through is not a nightmare made up by your imagination. It is real. A harsh reality pressing down on every breath, every thought, every fragile heartbeat. You are not exhausted because you are weak, but because you are being drained of emotional energy, of reason, of trust in yourself. You feel small, not because you are insignificant, but because someone is trying to dim your light to mold you into someone more controllable, more subdued. I see how they use disrespectful words, not as sharp, sudden cuts, but as constant abrasions, hurting you piece by piece, until you begin to doubt even yourself. They do not offer tenderness unconditionally. It comes only when they need to use you, to pull you back into a power game you never asked to play. That tenderness is not rooted in love. It is a tool for manipulation, and it grieves me to see you, my beloved child, surrounded by sweet-sounding poison, bound by invisible vines that slowly strangle your confidence, your safety, and your clarity, you've started to live cautiously. Every word, every action is measured. You fear making mistakes. Fear provoking anger. Fear losing something you once thought worth holding on to. And in that fear, you've shrunk. You've curled inward. You've forgotten who you were, radiant, vibrant, alive with effortless joy. Now you're but a shadow of yourself, wondering what turned you into someone you barely recognize. But I am here to remind you it was never your fault. You were not wrong to love, to trust, to hope. Your mistake was believing you had to keep suffering to keep someone else satisfied while your heart quietly shattered. I know there are many reasons you've stayed. Perhaps your loyalty runs deep, and you once promised yourself you'd never walk away. Perhaps you're afraid of loneliness, of emptiness, of losing your footing. Perhaps your love is genuine, and letting go doesn't come easily. Or maybe you still hope they'll change. I hope they'll see your worth. I hope they'll love you rightly. But my precious one, you cannot heal in the very place that's hurting you. Just as you cannot revive a flower by placing it in the desert, you cannot mend your heart by keeping it in the hands of someone who doesn't cherish it. You cannot keep living this way in a cycle where you are both the wounded and your own comforter. So, let me speak to you a truth that is unchanging, one that does not shift with circumstances, is not defined by anyone's words, and cannot be stained by coldness or control. Your heart belongs to me first. Before any love you once clung to, before any friendship time tried to nurture, before any soul to whom memory has bound you, I chose you. That heart was mine before it ever beat wildly for anyone else. And because of that, I have the right to reclaim it when it is traded away for a love that does not honor it. You were crafted by my hands full of love and wisdom. I wove you carefully and wonderfully, each strand of DNA, each cell, each glance, each beautiful mark upon your skin holds my dream and my promise. You are not a random existence. You are my intention, a masterpiece, a living work of art, into whom I breathe the joy of my spirit. I did not create you to struggle in relationships that make you question your worth. I did not place you in this world so you would live in fear, asking for permission just to exist, to be loved, to be at peace. I wrote your days with light, not so they could be torn by cruel words or chilled by the eyes of someone who never saw you the way I do. They may see you as someone easily controlled, easily silenced, easily broken. But I see you as light, a powerful flame that can warm others, but is never meant to be extinguished. You carry within you a sacred worth. No one has the right to diminish. And if someone fails to see that, it's not you who must shrink to fit them. It's you who must walk away to protect that beauty from rotting within. My child, you do not need to wait for an apology to begin again. You do not need recognition from the one who hurt you to believe you are worthy. All you need is to return to me and to yourself. Reclaim your heart. Return it to where it truly belongs, in my embrace, in my light, in a love that never changes, never demands, and never wounds. And when you do that, when you begin to walk away from that barren land, I promise you each step will be supported by me. I will restore what was broken. I will breathe life into what is withered. I will help you remember who you are, not through the eyes of another, but through the gaze of the one who called you by name before the world ever knew you. And you will rise again, not merely survive, but truly live in freedom, in peace, in the brilliance you were made to carry, Beloved child, I know that deep within you now is a storm of emotion, pain, uncertainty, fear, and quiet grief. I know that choosing to walk away, to release your grip, to step out of a bond that once felt vital, is anything but easy. No one leaves memories behind without carrying a few scars. And I understand the cost of that separation for you, not just in tears, but in the aching of your chest, the sighs in the dark, the silence that feels like the world has retreated, leaving you alone with your scattered heart. The silence, after letting go, may feel like an endless void. It will fill your mind with questions. Did I make a mistake? Could I have tried harder? And memory, that elusive trickster, will begin to betray you. It won't remind you of the nights you cried until you couldn't breathe. It will paint gentle pictures, as if that person was once your safe haven. It will whisper in the voice of the past, begging you to come back. But my child, do not let memory deceive your heart. Remember, some things seem beautiful not because they truly were, but because you love so deeply. It blinded you to the sharp edges they carried. And in all those silences, I am right there at the deepest, emptiest place within you. I do not retreat when you release someone. I do not stand at the edge of your life, appearing only when joy does. No, my love, I was there before the pain arrived. I was there when you wept alone. And I will still be there waiting for you in the desert of loneliness, ready to fill what has been lost with my very presence. There is no emptiness in you that I cannot heal, no wound in your soul that I cannot touch. What you lost in them, I will return to you, but deeper, fuller, everlasting, because my love is not conditional, not fleeting, not cold. It is the place you can always come home to. You do not need their approval to continue existing. You do not need to beg for their love to feel worthy. You do not need to hold on to them to feel whole. Everything you need, you already carry inside you. From the day I first called you by name, that voice in your head telling you that you are nothing without them, that is not my voice. That is the echo of fear. A spiritual captivity you've known so long it feels like truth. But I remind you, I did not give you a spirit of fear. I gave you power, love, and a sound mind. You are far stronger than you ever believed. This pain is not meant to drown you, but to rebirth you. No one walks out of a battle like this unchanged. But you will emerge different, profoundly and steadfastly changed. You will find yourself again, no longer as a reflection in someone else's eyes, but as you authentic, whole, and radiant. You will breathe again, not the short, anxious breaths of one afraid to be abandoned, but the free, unhurried breath of one who knows they no longer need to suffer to be accepted. You will sleep in peace, not haunted by unanswered messages, cold glances, or words that made you doubt your worth. And then you will rise again, not just to endure, but to live a truly new day. A day not governed by anyone else, no longer dependent, no longer waiting for someone to love you the way you deserve. You will dance again in the truest sense of freedom, not because someone else finally saw your worth, but because you have finally seen it in yourself. That is when your heart will stop bleeding from unmet expectations and begin to beat in rhythm with life, a life filled with light, hope, and truth. You were not born to endure emotional scarcity, nor to survive on the drips of half-hearted affection. You were born to live fully in my love, a love that never retreats, never lessens, never ceases to flow. So when longing floods your chest, when you feel lost, when you're torn between letting go and the desperate urge to hold on, remember, I am right here. Call on me. Let me wipe your tears, lift your heart, and say to you, you were not wrong to love. But it is a mistake to lose yourself trying to keep someone else. Keep walking. Even if your heart is heavy, every step in pain now is the first step toward resurrection. And when you look back, you will see, right in the place of loss, I was planting new life. In the space where you thought everything ended, I began rebuilding you in deeper and more glorious ways than ever before. My beloved, I see your soul trembling. I hear the silent cracks within your heart, the wordless cries in the night, the soft tremors when you pretend you're still okay. I see it all. Not a single moment of yours is forgotten before me. And now, as I place my hand upon your shoulder, I am not declaring that you are forsaken. No, you are being called to return to yourself, called into a new season of healing and freedom. This is not loss, it is obedience. Obedience to me, to that still, steady voice within that whispers, it's enough now. You are not being pushed away in bitterness, but invited in love, a love for your soul, for the life I so carefully and intentionally designed for you from the very beginning. You once thought that if you loved enough, forgave enough, sacrificed enough, they would change. I do not fault you for hoping, but some things are beyond your grasp. Even love has its limits, not limits of kindness, but of health. When I call you forward, it is not because you're not enough, but because what lies ahead is more than enough. I see what you cannot. I understand what you do not yet comprehend. What feels like an end may in truth be the beginning of something miraculous, but you'll never reach it if you keep clinging to what is wounding you. Let me handle what you cannot fix. You have tried, endured, and hurt, and now it's time to hand it over to me. Let me be the one who carries the impossible. Let me be the one who heals the shattered places in you. You don't have to fight alone anymore. You don't have to brace yourself against every wave of sorrow. This moment right now is sacred. You are standing at the threshold of something greater, something I've long prepared, just waiting for you to step into it. You can choose to remain in the pain you've grown used to, in sleepless nights, replaying coldness, confusion, and silence. Or you can choose to step forward, not away, but homeward, home to me, home to yourself, home to real life. It won't be easy. I know. What runs deep never releases easily. There will be days when you look back, nights when memories pull you under and your heart aches because old habits die hard. But I promise I will be there. I will be in every dark night, in every sharp wave of pain, and I will not leave. I will not let you walk this desert alone. And when you begin to move forward even slowly, even unsure, I will go before you, clearing the path, lighting the way. You do not need to see the whole road. You only need to trust me enough to take the first step. You do not need their approval to be whole. You do not need their presence to feel valuable. They are not your source of life. I am. That voice whispering, "You're nothing without them," is not from me. That is the voice of fear, of old wounds, of unholy attachments. I did not give you a spirit of fear. I gave you a spirit of power, of love, of a sound mind. Don't you know, you are far stronger than you ever believed. You were crafted with the nerves of light, with sacred currents of resilience. And you will make it through this. Not just make it, you will be renewed, lifted, and resurrected from what you thought had died within you. There will come a time when you breathe easy again after so many suffocating days. There will come a time when you smile, truly smile, without having to force it. There will come a time when you dance not to prove you're okay, but because you are truly at peace. There will come a time when you sleep without trying to forget, and wake into a day full of hope. That is not a dream, it's real, and it's waiting for you on the other side of this pain. Now, breathe deeply. Close your eyes and feel. My hand clasp yours. We will walk. Slowly is okay. In pain is okay. But we will not stop. I don't need you to understand everything today. I only need you to trust that I know the way, that I love you, and that the best is still ahead. My beloved one, let them go. Not with angry screams, not with a bitter heart, but with gentle grace, like a flower bowing to the wind. Without argument, without force. Let go, softly and peacefully, as though you are opening your hand to release a bird back to the sky where it belongs. I know it's not easy. I know you held tightly to the hope that one day they would change. You kept close the image of who they could be if only you loved a little more, gave a little more, endured a little more. You dreamed of a future with them, beautiful dreams, but so fragile. But my child, I did not create you to live in endless waiting and unanswered faith. I am asking you to lay it all at my feet, not to lose it, but to be saved. You thought I was taking precious things from you. But no, I am guarding you, protecting the tender soul within you from deeper fractures. I am rescuing the softest parts of your heart, the places where love was wounded, where endurance became burden, where innocent longing was worn down by indifference. I am covering those cracks with unspeakable mercy, because you are worth more than what you're trying to hold on to. You were made with dignity and purpose. And in letting go, I am restoring that. You cannot walk the calling I've placed on your life while dragging chains behind you. The burdens that aren't yours, the stories that have ended, the people who have chosen to leave you must release them. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. You cannot rise when your heart is still tethered to a dream that no longer fits. I know there are nights you can't sleep, moments you drift blankly through the day, times you stare at your phone hoping for an apology, a sign. But child, sometimes silence is the clearest answer. And in that silence, it is I who am calling you home. Forgive not because they've admitted fault, but because you need to be free of that weight in order to live again. Forgiveness doesn't mean agreeing with the harm. It means refusing to let it rule you. When you forgive, you're not saying it didn't hurt. You're saying, I choose to move forward. I choose peace. And I will help you do that, little by little. You don't have to forgive in a day, but day by day, breath by breath, I will lift you up until you're strong enough to face forward without trembling. Right now, as you read these words, eyes perhaps brimming with tears, I am sending my angels to surround you with the safety you thought you had lost. You may not see it, but your soul is being guarded by the steadiest hands in the universe. I am sending my spirit to you, not loud, not forceful, but gentle as breath, like the morning breeze across your skin, like a lullaby that calms your restless sleep. That spirit is tending to the places you haven't yet named, the hurts you haven't spoken, the wounds too deep to share. I know them all, and I will not leave. You will never be alone, not for a single moment. Every time you cry in silence, I will be there. Every time you long for an embrace and no one holds you, I will be that embrace, unseen, but truer than anything earthly. I will be your comfort, your shelter when the storm rages within. I will be the one you never have to pretend with, because with me, you are always enough, always understood, always loved. And one day, not far from now, you will look back and see just how much of my love I poured over you. Abundantly, deeply, unceasingly. You will lift your eyes and ask yourself, how did I ever live without this love? How did I endure days without it? I will fill the void they left with my healing, sweet presence. You will no longer crave a distorted love, for true love will flow from the only source that never fails me. You are the jewel in my hand, the song within my heart, the light I will not allow to be extinguished. And I will not stop until you walk with steady steps, a whole heart, and a free soul, just as I intended for you from the very beginning. Let go, my beloved. Let me hold the parts of you you no longer have the strength to carry. And believe this, I will never let you fall. Never. Listen to me, my precious one, not only with your physical ears, but with the spirit within you that longs for rest, with the soul that has grown weary, searching for meaning amid the chaos and exhaustion. Be still, my child, amid the noise of life, among the racing thoughts in your mind, so that you might hear the gentle yet powerful voice of mine. For it is I, the Lord your God, the Creator who formed you with boundless love and perfect wisdom, who is speaking to you now, not to condemn, not to accuse, but to awaken you from the long slumber of deceit and pain. I am calling you home back to the light, back to truth, back to the purest essence I sowed into your being from the moment you came into existence. I did not come to place shame upon you. On the contrary, I am extending my hand to pull your soul out of the place where it has been held captive out of the shadows of manipulation, misguided hope, entangled, painful attachments. I have come to set you free, to heal you, to help you see who you truly are in my eyes, not the distorted image others tried to force upon you, not a script someone else wrote for your life. I alone am the true author of your story, and you were not born to live a supporting role in anyone else's drama, but to walk fully in the lead of the sacred destiny I have written in eternal love. You are not alone, even when you feel abandoned, misunderstood, rejected, or forgotten. I am still here. I never left. I have seen every tear you wiped away in silence, every burden you could not put into words, even when your heart is so heavy that you no longer sense my presence. I am near, whispering beside you like a gentle breath, waiting for you to turn toward me. And now, I speak not in metaphors, not in hidden signs, but plainly. There are people in your life who were not sent by me. They came not by my hand. They exist in relationship with you, not because they were appointed for a holy purpose in your journey. And that is why, when you are in pain because of them, when you are wounded without understanding why, it is not because you were not enough, but because they never truly belonged to you. There are souls I have chosen to walk beside you, to support you, to guide you, to walk with you through the seasons of life. But there are also those who are but passing detours, brief lesson, breezes never meant to stay rooted in your life. I know, at first, they may have brought you warmth, a flicker of hope, promises that felt sincere, but over time, their presence no longer brings life. Instead, It drains your peace, dims your light, and makes you forget how radiant you were when you were not being drowned by disrespect, manipulation, or cold silence cloaked in affection. My child, I know you have tried to understand to make sense of how someone could bring you so much pain. You've asked why. If the bond was from me, it has left you so depleted. But I say it again, true love does not exhaust you like this. Someone I have chosen to walk with you will not destroy your sense of worth, will not cover selfishness with the label of love. They will not use you as a tool for their own gratification, nor demand unconditional suffering from you as proof of loyalty. They will love you as I do, gently, supportively, patiently, and always in the direction of life. If someone makes you hide your true feelings, makes you feel that you're too sensitive or not enough, they are not the one I chose for you. If you have to silence your own needs, walk on eggshells just to keep them from leaving, then you are living against my divine design for your life. And I cannot allow that to continue. I love you too much to stay silent. I value your soul too deeply to watch it erode in warped relationships you keep justifying in the name of love. End quote. Open your eyes, my child. See everything with the clarity my light brings. Do not fear the truth. Truth does not come to shatter you. It comes to free you from the illusions that have bound your heart for so long. I do not want you living in confusion, in unanswered questions, stuck between affection and hurt. I want you to step into the light where everything is seen clearly, where you no longer need to pretend, where you are free to be fully yourself, a person loved, respected, and free to grow into the image I created. And when you dare to let go even when it's hard, even when your heart hesitates, I will be the arms that catch you. I will heal each wound. I will help rebuild every fragment of your trust that was shattered. And then, you will see that you have lost nothing. Instead, you will begin to reclaim everything: peace, freedom, radiance, and the true connection with me. You will no longer be suffocated by someone else's expectations, no longer live to the rhythm of a heart that does not beat in harmony with yours. You will be yourself, and that will be enough. My beloved child, do not cling to what no longer belongs to you. Hand that burden over to me. Walk forward with lighter steps, with a heart no longer shackled by what is not yours to hold. You were born to walk in light, not to wander endless narrow alleys looking for escape. And I, the one who created you, am the light that never fades, the hand that never closes, the love that never withdraws. Listen to me, my child. It is time to let go so you can truly live. My precious one, you must understand this not tomorrow, not after you've weighed every possibility, but now, in this very moment when your soul trembles with silent fractures. You must grasp this truth with both sobriety and holy reverence. For what I am about to say bears sacred and urgent weight, as if your life depends on whether you hear it. Because in truth, it just might save you. Not everyone who walks into your life was sent by me. Not every person who seems kind, attentive, bonded to you, or who shares in deep things is a gift from me. Some people enter, not to help you grow, not to enrich your journey, but to drain the light I've kindled in your heart. They do not tend to your soul like a garden needing care. They corrode it day by day, hour by hour, with weariness, doubt, and distraction. They are not companions. They are mistaken detours, polished masks, sweet voices filled with fog and deception. Do not let their appearance fool you. They may be charming, may make you feel seen, understood, connected. They may speak the language of empathy, may even mention my name, but not everyone who names me belongs to me. Not everyone who displays kindness truly loves what is good. Deception, my child, does not always come in the form of darkness. Sometimes it enters as light, a light that blinds rather than guides. Sometimes it speaks of love, only to use that very love to manipulate you away from truth. They do not bring you closer to the mission I've entrusted to you. In fact, they lead you to forget it. They drain you until you no longer have the strength to hear my voice. They confuse you, making it hard to discern sacred intuition from the cry of fear. They blur the lines between healthy boundaries and mercy warped out of shape. And that, my child, is the greatest danger. Not open hatred, but qui est distorsion. Not visible enemies, but friends who softly steer you off course from the light. You cannot keep them just because they were part of beautiful seasons. Time and memories are not a valid reason to tether your soul to a connection that is silently unraveling you. I lit a flame in you, a fire of purpose, of true love, of deep life. And if anyone, in any way, is dimming that fire, you must bravely recognize that they no longer belong here. Do not wait any longer. Do not wait for them to get better, to see, or to change. Do not keep pouring love into a bottomless cup. Do not imprison your soul in a cage built from pity, blind hope, or guilt. You owe no one anything if keeping them pulls you away from me. No relationship is worth it if it requires you to betray the quiet calling I whisper daily in your heart. No one, no matter how close, is worth sacrificing your sacred connection to me. For, my beloved, I did not create you to be the foundation for someone else's misguided passion. I did not place you in this world to be the soil for another's poisonous seeds. I did not engrave your name upon my hand, only to watch you trade your divine identity for a hollow bond. Your heart is not a battlefield. Your soul is not a place for anyone to walk in and strip away life. Your heart is a temple, the place I dwell, and you must guard it with wisdom, with courage, and with obedience to the holy calling. Do not fear walking away. Do not fear releasing someone who once meant so much. Letting go is not bitterness. It is your way of affirming that you are chosen, that you have purpose, and that you have every right to move forward unchained. Letting go of someone toxic is not selfish. It is faithfulness to what is good. It is how you tell the universe that you will not agree with what harms you. And I, the one who made you, will stand with you, lift you up, and set you free. Remember this, my child, not everyone who walks with you is walking toward me. Not every voice leads to life. Discern, listen, release, choose freedom, and I will be there at your new beginning, where you are healed, lifted, and living the life I dreamed for you before the world was ever formed. You are light, and no one has the right to dim that light, my beloved child. There is something you must etch deeply into your heart, not as a fleeting warning, but as a sacred reminder sent to you amidst the confusion. In the quiet darkness, your soul is navigating. The discernment I have placed within you is not a sign of doubt or hardened spirit. It is not a crack in your faith or a slow-burning resentment creeping through your heart. No, beloved, it is a gift, a precious gift. I, myself, have embedded within your soul, like a lamp, like a ray of light to keep you from losing your way when all around you seems to sway and tremble. This discernment, that deep intuition you keep trying to ignore, is my whisper. It is the loving intervention of the one who never lets you drift in chaos without a compass. The caution rising in your heart is not oversensitivity. It is the manifestation of the alertness I have woven into your being, so that you might clearly perceive who is helping uplift you, and who, silently and slowly, is causing your inner decay. Some arrive with soft words, warm appearances, eyes that seem to understand, but if you just pause, slowly, you will feel it, your soul ringing with quiet alarms. No peace, no light, no steadiness. And that, my dear one, is not love. You've felt this before, haven't you? That chill in the air when they enter the room, even when nothing explicit happens. That unnameable exhaustion that lingers after an encounter that seemed harmless. That lingering doubt you blamed on yourself, which in truth was your soul reacting to something that was not of the light. Do not fault yourself for these vibrations. My child, you are not weak for sensing. You are not safe. You are not too emotional for realizing your heart is being intruded upon by an energy that does not belong to the light. On the contrary, it is proof that you are still living in connection with me. I never created you to live in invisible conflict, in relationships that force you to strain just to understand, to endure, to justify the emptiness in your chest, conversations that leave no warmth, touches that bring no comfort, words that make you doubt your worth. These are not love. They never were. Love does not disorient you. It does not dim the light you carry. It does not leave you with a clouded mind, a wavering spirit, a body constantly bracing against unseen currents. I know. Sometimes it's the void that makes you settle. You are weary from walking alone. So when someone speaks gently, you give your trust too quickly. You are kind. And within that kindness is a genuine desire to be seen, to be heard, to be cherished in someone's heart. But beloved, not everyone is sent to preserve you. Some are merely there to test whether you can still hold on to the light within. Some are passing winds, stirring still waters, but if you let them linger too long, they become storms, pulling you away from where I placed you. You were not born to live in constant suspicion, not to wake up with a numb soul because of a cold word spoken the night before, not to keep forcing yourself to be more patient, more gentle, less demanding, just to keep someone from walking away. You deserve more than that, and I will not let you live in anything less than what you were created for. When I created you, I gave you the ability to feel, not just to delight in beauty, but to detect what is wrong. Don't smother that clarity just because you're afraid of being alone. Loneliness is a temporary land, but staying in toxicity is a dead one. Yes, it might feel cold when you step out of an ambiguous relationship, but true light cannot reach you as long as you remain in that shadow. Don't be afraid to lose someone who was never truly keeping you. Don't fear being labeled as too strong, too guarded, too sensitive. I say this to you with absolute love. You do not need to extinguish your light just to fit into someone else's shadow. If you have to shrink, if you have to live in doubt, if you have to explain away your pain, that is not where you are meant to remain. Love, true love, does not drain your soul. It does not leave you tangled, does not make you question your worth every single day. True love helps you see more clearly who you are becoming. It grounds you in truth. It draws you closer to me, not farther. And that is the kind of love worth keeping. Let the light of discernment I lit within you lead the way. Trust the knowing within the place where I still whisper. When something feels wrong, it often is. When your peace is disturbed, your soul is likely responding to a distortion. Don't be silent anymore. Don't keep looking away. You are not weak for having loved, but you will hurt yourself if you continue loving blindly. And when you choose to step away, even if your knees tremble, even if your heart aches, even if your eyes still glisten with tears, I will walk with you. I will walk close, so close you cannot help but feel me, so close that you will know, I did the right thing. I did not create you to live a life in which you must constantly question the truth within yourself just to receive scraps of love. I want you to live with a peaceful mind, a lifted soul, and a steady heart, and I will be here whenever you need light, whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel like giving up, because I know one day you will step out of that darkness, and you won't just see who is who in your life, but you will also realize you were never alone, never lacking in light. My precious child, life brings people who enter like strange winds. They arrive with harmless, even charming appearances, and somehow make you feel wanted, cared for. But my dear, not everyone who enters your life comes with a mission to heal. Some are not sent to lift your soul, but to test it. They do not nurture life within you, but quietly, gradually, drain the freshness from your heart in subtle, slow, yet deeply damaging ways. They may not always intend to hurt, but their presence leaves undeniable scars. Every word, every look, every action, each one wears you down, bit by bit. Even if you didn't notice it at first, they do not love with patience and humility, but often criticize with pride. They don't see your pain as something to be healed, but as a weakness to be dissected and mocked. You once hoped they would love you tenderly, see you with compassion, but instead, they viewed you as a project to fix, a place to unload their inner chaos. Their words hold no love, only judgment. Their responses offer no support, only weight. They do not lead you toward the better version of yourself. They drag you backward, into doubt, into confusion about your becoming, and more cruelly, they do not correct with love. They do not apologize. They stay silent, or worse. They blame you for being too sensitive, too fragile, not strong enough. They don't own their faults, because pride always outranks compassion within them. They never acknowledge the hurt you carry, only cover it with excuses that make you distrust your own feelings. How many times have you wondered, am I overreacting? Am I the one at fault? And slowly, you taught yourself to ignore your inner voice, just to hold on to a bond that has long been broken. My child, some people are not drawn to your light to shine with it, but to extinguish it. They are magnetized by your fire, not to be warmed by it, but to steal it, to duel it, to ensure you never glow brighter than they do. They cannot bear to see you admired, loved, growing, so they drip into your thoughts, their doubts, their comparisons, their words disguised as care, but which make you withdraw and hesitate to shine the way you were born to. They do not rest when you are joyful. They rest when you are dependent, uncertain, and easy to control. And in that space, exploitation takes root. They see your kindness not to treasure it, but to use it. They know your heart gives easily, so they demand. They know you hate hurting others, so they make sure you always apologize first. They know your loyalty, and twisted into chains you feel guilty breaking. They manipulate your compassion, turning it from a virtue into a shackle, keeping you stuck in a toxic bond. You once thought love meant endurance, that to care meant to tolerate, that loyalty meant not giving up, even as you disappeared from yourself. But my child, love is not letting others trample your heart. Love is not pouring endlessly into their cup while yours runs dry. The light in you, your gentleness, your mercy, your wisdom, your faith is rare. And because it is rare, it attracts those who do not know how to protect it, only how to own it, control it, diminish it. I know you once convinced yourself they didn't mean harm. They're just hurt. I just need to be more patient. But child, you cannot keep draining yourself for someone who refuses to be healed. Some only know how to survive by feeding on others' light. They will never learn to stand on their own, because they know you are always there, holding them up, even as you tremble. I did not create you to be a power source for those unwilling to grow. I created you to live in balance where love is mutual, where giving and receiving are equal, where growth is shared, and hearts rise together. And how painful it is there are those who know they are hurting you, yet continue not out of ignorance, but indifference. They see your tears and do not stop. They see you shrink away, yet still utter words that shatter your heart. Then they turn their backs, leaving you alone in the hollow of long nights, only to return when they need to be filled again. But you are not anyone's emotional gas station. You are not a temporary shelter in their storm. You are a sacred home, and only those who know how to cherish that are worthy of staying. I say this not to plant resentment in your heart, but to open your eyes to the truth. Real love does not bring enduring pain. It does not ask you to trade the purity of your soul just to keep someone. What causes you to shrink, to doubt yourself, to fear expressing your emotions? That is not love. That is control. That is manipulation. That is possession in disguise. My beloved, it is time for you to withdraw your light from places that are unworthy. Keep that light for those who will cherish it. Nurture it, and let it grow freely. Let go of those who only come to dim your radiance. They are not a refuge for your heart. They are a lesson, and that lesson must now come to an end. I know you are in pain, but I also know this: you are strong enough to rise, brave enough to walk away, wise enough to see that you do not have to remain in a relationship that makes you smaller by the day. You were born to soar, not to be caged by fear and guilt. And I, the one who breathed life into you, will always be here, watching over you, uplifting you, guiding you, until you can walk again in your fullness, with light unclouded and a heart healed and whole. You are worthy of that, and I will keep reminding you until you believe it. My dearest one, even if what you've gone through has carved itself into your soul like an engraving in stone, even if you've called it by beautiful names, love, the past, loyalty, the one who sees into the deepest chambers of your heart, call it something else, bondage, not to diminish your experience, not to dismiss the purity of what you've given, but because I see more clearly than you can when your heart is blurred by misguided love. I see the price you've paid for a connection that is no longer whole. I feel every time you strain to hold on to something broken, just because naming it truthfully might make it collapse entirely. But the truth is, it is the refusal to let go that is killing your spirit, day by day. You think that if you call it love, the pain will hurt less. That if you label it a beautiful past, you can allow it to stay. that if you wrap it in the cloak of loyalty, you have a reason not to leave. But my child, do not let those labels blind you. True love does not destroy self-worth. Loyalty does not mean imprisoning the heart in a rusted cage. And the past, no matter how lovely, has no right to dictate your future if it's making you lose yourself. I am not asking you to turn your back on every memory, nor to erase their footprints from your mind. I don't want you to harbor bitterness, for you were never made to carry resentment. But I want you to walk away from the dangerous confusion between forgiveness and self-destruction. I want you to love them, but in the way true love is meant to be, to love enough to know what is right, to love enough to let go when holding on only drags both of you down. Love them with maturity, love enough to withdraw, to refuse to let them sow doubt, anxiety, weeds, and desolation into the spiritual garden that was always meant to flourish with peace and beauty. Your inner garden is a sacred place. It is where I dwell, where I plant seeds of peace, light, and divine purpose. But you have, unknowingly, opened its gates to someone who does not know how to care, how to tend, how to protect. They entered with mud-covered feet from wounds left unhealed, carrying heavy baggage of suspicion, pride, and selfishness. They did not come to nurture, they came to possess. And you, in your kindness, in your desire to love, allowed them to remain. Even as your garden withered, you watered dying trees with your own heart's blood, not realizing you were bleeding yourself dry. You were not born to be a doormat for someone else to trample on under the name of challenging love. I do not call that noble. I call it misplaced sacrifice. Kindness is not indifference to your own well-being. Compassion is not giving until there's nothing left. And love should never mean allowing someone to hurt you repeatedly and calling it growth. You are not called to carry the souls of those who refuse to rise on their own. I did not assign you the burden of saving everyone unwilling to change. You are human, not the Redeemer. That burden is mine. I alone am the healer. I alone am the restorer. I alone am the source of life and transformation. You do not need to sacrifice yourself to redeem the actions of others. I never asked that of you. Let me gently lift that weight from your shoulders. Set it down and watch me carry it. Stop trying to rescue someone who is pulling you under. Do not believe you must suffer so they might change. If they truly wanted change, they would seek me, not torment you. If they truly knew love, they would never let you endure it alone. You cannot bear their wounds when you are still bleeding. You cannot fill their emptiness by hollowing your soul. You were born for freedom, not the false freedom of emotional highs and lows, but true freedom, where you are not imprisoned by the expectations of others, where you are not trapped in a role I never asked you to play. You are not the keeper of a flame that refuses to burn. You are not responsible for holding on to someone at the cost of your own heart. My child, I know you have loved deeply. And because you've loved deeply, I long for you to now learn to love yourself with awareness, with courage, with gratitude for the life I gave you. Some relationships need not end in rage, but they must end in clarity. Some people must be forgiven, but forgiveness does not mean allowing them to stay. Sometimes, forgiveness is release. It is letting them go, so you can live more fully, so you no longer have to strain yourself in a role that was never yours to bear. I am always here. I never leave. Even when you feel broken, hollow, or filled with regret, I hold you close. No need for you to pretend to be strong. No need to hide your tears. I know every crack within you. and I will fill each one with my love. But first, you must let go. You must pull your hand away from the door that is crushing your soul. You must refuse to remain in a place that was never meant for you. Trust me, on the other side of surrender is the dawn. Beyond the moment you choose to walk away from bondage is a sky so light, so free, that you'll remember it was always there. And there, I will wait not to judge, but to embrace you and whisper, "You chose well. Now, you are free." I, my beloved child, from the very beginning, when I formed you with love and infinite wisdom, I never placed upon you the burden of fixing another's soul. I did not create you to be the redeemer of wounded hearts unwilling to heal. The only role I gave you was this: to follow me. Simple, but sacred, to walk with me, to hear the voice of your soul, to move toward the light, and to live in alignment with the divine essence I planted within you. But along the way, you unknowingly embraced roles that were never yours: the peacemaker, the savior, the one who holds on, and in doing so, you lost fragments of yourself, pieces of peace, glimmers of that gentle flame within. There are connections in your life that once had meaning, that once served a divine purpose. I do not deny that. Yes, there were those I allowed into your path as lessons, as mirrors, as temporary companions meant to guide you to a particular milestone on your journey. But not everyone is meant to go all the way with you. Some relationships, no matter how beautiful, have an expiration date. Their ending is not a failure, it is a completion. I do not want you to cling to what has run its course just because you fear the emptiness of letting go. You fear what will remain when they are gone, but you forget what remains is me, and I have never left. When those you love walk away, I do not abandon you. When you are betrayed, when your trust is rejected, when your heart breaks under the world's cruelty, I remain unmoved, unwavering, unwithholding in my love. I am your sure foundation. I am the place where you can fall and not be harmed. I am the hand always outstretched, even when you fail, fall apart, or doubt your worth. You may be wounded by man, but I, the unchanging one, am not like them. My love has no condition. My presence is not earned by merit or performance. I am the one who remains with you, even when all others have gone. You often give the best of yourself to those who do not know how to treasure it. You offer your time, your devotion, your gentleness, believing that if you give enough, try enough, they will see your worth. But it only leaves you depleted, eroded, slowly, emptied. You must understand, your worth is not determined by whether others recognize it. You do not have to enter battles to prove yourself to those who've shut their hearts to you. I do not want you to keep offering your light to souls who choose the dark. Light's role is not to force anyone's eyes open, it simply shines. You do not need to explain yourself. You were not created to live in a constant state of justification. You do not have to bend and shrink just to fit into someone else's narrow perspective. If someone refuses to understand you, if they choose to misunderstand, to judge, or to impose their will, then they are not worthy of your heart. Your efforts to prove your worth to someone who has already dismissed it will only trap you in an endless spiral. And you might mistake that for humility, but no, my beloved, that is captivity. That is a chain named waiting for validation. And I did not create you to live under any chains. Do you know how precious you are? Every cell in your body bears my imprint. Every dream, every gift, every tender emotion you hold. These are offerings I bestowed uniquely upon you. Yet you trade all these sacred things just to keep someone who cannot see beyond their own needs. My child, do not let someone else's lack of maturity cause you to question the beauty within you. Do not let another's indifference make you forget that you were created to love, to live, to rise, not to walk wearily beside those who cannot see you with genuine love. You are not a shadow chasing affection. You are light meant to shine. And light does not need to beg for recognition to radiate. You do not have to remain in a chapter that has already ended just because it's familiar. The book of your life is still long, and I long to write new chapters with you, full of hope, healing, and new beginnings. But that can only happen if you dare to place a period at the end of the old one. If you are not afraid of the blank page, if you believe that when you walk away from what no longer serves you, you are walking toward what I have prepared for you, something that will love you rightly, in the right time, through the right heart. Remember, you are not alone. You are not walking this road by yourself. I am always with you, not in distant silence, but in the deepest nearness, in the quiet whispers within your soul, in the moments you feel peace amid the storms. I am your keeper, your unfailing friend, the source of love that never runs dry. When everyone else walks away, when every gaze turns from you, all you need to do is return. I am still here. And what I want you to do right now is let go. Not because you didn't love enough, but because you have loved enough. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the sign that you have matured enough to know what is meant to stay and what must be released. It is proof that fear no longer leads your life, but that I, the one who loves you unchangingly, am guiding you. My beloved child, it is time for you to understand an undeniable truth, not merely a piece of advice, but an awakening from the depths of your soul, from the very one who called you into life not to merely survive, but to live fully, freely, and abundantly. You were not created to remain in relationships that drain your heart, deplete your spirit, and fill your mind with unending self-doubt. You were not born to stay in a constant effort to hold on to what has already let you go. I did not choose you from among millions because you're good at enduring pain. I chose you because you are called to shine brightly, to love with purity, and to radiate light from your very heart. Yet now you are allowing misguided connections to slowly erode that light. You remain in places where joy once flowed like a stream, and now only drips through tired cracks. You call endurance loyalty, mistake stubbornness for faithfulness, and dress your wounds in garments of tolerance. But, my child, there are places where staying is not a mark of courage, it is a sign of sacred disobedience. I know in your heart you believe that sacrificing yourself for others is noble. I know you think that staying silent, enduring, continuing to love someone who no longer honors you, is a virtuous act. But, my love, I never created you to breathe through the fragile breath of a soul being suffocated. The places where you feel like you're never enough, where you're forced to shrink, where you live in constant tension, those are not the places I have chosen for you. That gentle stirring you felt in the stillness of long nights when everything outside is quiet but your heart trembles, that was me speaking to you. Not with thunder, not with wrath, but with whispers, with stirrings, with the softest touches upon your soul. You felt it, that unease that lingers after every conversation, the sense of being lost beside the very person who should have been your safest haven, the emptiness that follows when you reach out and receive only coldness or crumbs of affection. You thought that discomfort was your fault, that if you were more patient, more kind, more easygoing, everything would be okay. But I allowed that to happen not to hurt you, but to awaken you. I removed the peace from those relationships not to punish you, but so that you could no longer deceive yourself. Because I know you could grow so familiar with pain that you begin to call it normal. I know you might choose to stay simply because you fear the unknown, because you've mistaken leaving for failure. But, child, staying is not always loyalty, and not all endurance is holy. Sometimes what you call sacrifice is the silent cry of a soul screaming in the dark. You are called to step out, to walk away from what makes you doubt yourself, from connections that no longer lift, but only hold down your wings. I did not create you to live as though you are too much. A burden, something needing adjustment in order to be loved. True love does not ask you to pretend. It does not demand that you silence your inner voice, nor does it require you to trade your dignity for temporary warmth. You thought staying was proof of deep love. But love, too, has boundaries, the boundary of self-respect, of trusting the sacred voice within. You were not born to be the victim of relationships that distort the truth. You do not have to keep proving your worth to someone who refuses to see it. And if you feel yourself shrinking, silencing your voice, trading away your peace, then remember this. That is the sound of me waking you up. I do not wait for you to be perfect before I love you. I love you in your wavering, in your doubt, in your moments of uncertainty. But I love you enough not to leave you in places that are slowly destroying you. Stop. Breathe. Be brave enough to face the truth. You are not okay, and you do not need to keep walking that path. My arms are open to receive you home, not to a physical place, but back to your truest self, to where light, freedom, and peace are not luxuries paid with tears, but your rightful inheritance. You are mine, and I never forget you. What you lose in surrender today, I will repay with good things multiplied. I will rebuild you with my own hands, not a person shattered by resignation, but one made strong by the choice to step out, to live true, to follow the quiet but steady call of the one who chose you from the very beginning. My beloved, there are things I have whispered to you long ago, not with roaring thunder or flashes of lightning. No, I do not come to you in noise or fury. I speak in sacred silence. In the ache in your chest every time you try to convince yourself everything is fine while your heart is breaking. That is my voice, not loud, but relentless. A quiet discomfort that runs deep, that unnamed inner tug that is me. You've heard me already, haven't you? But you tried to ignore it. Because the truth is, sometimes so clear, it scares you. I know you've mistaken familiarity for what must be kept. I know you've held on so long and so tightly that you cannot imagine a future without them. But, my child, do not confuse once close with meant to go with you. Just because someone stood beside you in a past chapter does not mean they belong in the next. Some people played their role in your growth, but their role has ended. Like a page in a book, it may have been beautiful and meaningful, but if you keep clinging to it, you'll never get to read the rest of the story I've written just for you. Growth is not only about gaining. Sometimes it requires pruning, and that cutting away, though necessary, feels like losing a piece of yourself. I know. I understand. Every relationship leaves a mark like roots deep in your heart, and uprooting them hurts. But picture a vine. For it to bear sweet fruit, the gardener must cut away the withered, misdirected branches, even if they were once full of life. If not, They will drain the vine of nourishment, leaving it barren. I am that gardener, and your heart is the precious vineyard I love. I prune not to leave you empty, but to prepare you to bloom in season. Do not fear the loss that comes from me, for I never take without giving something far better in return. I do not punish you through separation. I am expanding the space within your soul to prepare it for those I have chosen, those who will not hurt you, who will not make you shrink yourself. They are not coming to test your light, but to shine alongside you. They will bring harmony, carry a love that does not bind, a truth that liberates, and a deep, steady companionship. They will not make you question your worth, but will encourage you to walk fully in the purpose I have etched into every fiber of your being and every dream of your soul. But before they come, I need you to listen, not with your ears, but with your intuition, with the awakened senses of your soul, for you are among those whose hearts are not all sincere. Some come to you with kindness on their lips, but not in their hearts. Some speak words that seem caring, but are laced with envy and subtle scorn. They do not wound you with grand actions, but with whispers, glances, and half smiles. They say they love, yet leave tiny, stinging cuts in your heart, wounds that throb quietly, making you restless in their presence. You must learn to discern, not by first impressions, not by promises or appearances. Discern them by their fruit. Just as a good tree bears good fruit, a good person brings healing into your life. Ask yourself, after talking to them, does your soul feel lighter? Do you feel encouraged? Do you see your path more clearly? Or do you feel drained? Do you feel smaller? Do you feel like every conversation is a silent battlefield? If being near them causes your heart to shrink, makes you doubt yourself, dims the life in your eyes, then you must courageously admit, this is not a healthy relationship. I did not create you to live in tension and fear. You were not born to become a diminished version of yourself just to fit into the expectations of others. I shaped you with the generosity of light and the depth of the ocean, and only relationships that come from me can lift you up without suffocating that essence. The ones meant for you will awaken your soul, not suppress it. They will speak words that make you stronger, not weaker. They will remind you of who you are, not make you doubt it. My beloved child, this world holds many voices, but only one truly matters, mine. And I am speaking to you now. In stillness, in love, it is time to move forward. It is time to stop mourning the past and open your heart to the future I have prepared. It is time to prune away what no longer brings life, no matter how many memories are attached to it. I know you are afraid. I know you fear loneliness if you let go. But let me remind you of this: you will not be alone. I am always here. And the moment you dare to let go of the old, I will place in your hands something new and far more wondrous. And you will see the pain of parting will begin to fade. Your heart will heal. And one day, you will thank yourself for daring to trust me, for choosing growth over comfort, for walking alone so that you might be joined by those truly worthy. Trust me, you are not lost. You are being led to a new door, if only you are brave enough to release the old handle. And I will walk with you, step by step, always, unchanging, unshaken, because you are mine, and I love you with a love that never runs dry. My beloved one, what you are seeing now is not random. I am lifting the veil you unintentionally placed to avoid facing a hard truth. I am drawing you closer to the light, not to expose others with blame, but to help you finally see what you've long avoided. I am showing you who they truly are, not to stir bitterness, but to restore your freedom because I love you. I will not allow you to live endlessly in the shadow of deception, beneath a polished surface hiding brokenness within. You may have believed that keeping them in your life was a noble act, that defending them, protecting them, even bearing their pain was how love should be shown. But, dear child, true love is not blindness, and loyalty does not mean betraying yourself. If I have made it clear that someone must be released, do not cling to the threads I am gently unraveling. Every time you grasp what I am loosening, you delay not only your journey but also the quiet healing I am working behind the scenes. I know you say you love them, and I understand. Your feelings are real. Your sacrifices are real. The nights you prayed for them, the times you forgave, endured. I hoped I witnessed them all, and I love them too, far more than you could ever comprehend. But child, you are not their source of life. You are not the one who transforms the human soul. You are not their God, I am, and I do not want you carrying a role you were never created to bear. There are some whose change will only come when they are ready to face themselves, not when you try to mend them with love alone. I am not asking you to turn away in coldness, but I am calling you to walk in wisdom and reverence. If they are truly meant to change, they will not because you wore yourself thin, but because I am at work within them in my own way. And that, dear child, is beyond your control. Trying to save someone is a burden only I can carry. Your calling is simply to guard your own heart, to honor the temple I so delicately fashioned in you, a dwelling place of my presence, where I planted life, mercy, and eternal light. Do not allow someone to step into that sacred place, bringing dust, confusion, and doubt, defiling the most holy ground in your soul. Protect that space as a treasure, for it is where I dwell. It is where dreams are born, purposes planted, and my voice spoken. Do you know? What exhausts your heart is not that you are not strong enough, but that you are trying to do what I never asked of you. I did not call you to be the savior. I called you to live in truth in the light, in freedom, and in inner peace. I do not need you to sacrifice to the point of self-loss. I need you to be awake to know when to love from a distance, and when to walk away, even if it still aches. Because the truth is, not everything you love belongs to the future I have ordained. And you must remember, love does not always mean staying forever. Some people I bring into your life to teach you how to love without possessing, how to give without holding on. And sometimes, love means letting go, not out of abandonment, but out of trust. Trust that I am still working in their hearts, even when you're no longer there. Trust that I have not forgotten them, even if your path has moved on. Let me lift the burden you no longer have to carry. Breathe deeply and admit you cannot control the outcome, but you can choose today. Choose to live in truth, to love yourself, to not abandon your soul for someone who cannot see its worth. I am calling you to live differently, not in the torment of pleasing others, but in the peace of knowing who holds your life. And in that moment when you choose surrender, obedience, and trust in me more than in your own strength, you will feel a new wind, light, sacred, gentle. It is the sign that I am setting you free, that you are returning to the path, that your soul is being rescued from the entanglement of conflicted relationships in which you've unknowingly been trapped for so long. Open your heart so I may fill it with love that asks for nothing, encouragement without hesitation, and a light that never dims. Because when you let me be Lord, you no longer need to be Lord for anyone else. When I am your source, you no longer have to exhaust yourself trying to be water for someone who rejects life itself. You need only one thing: to be faithful to what I am revealing to you today, and the rest leave it to me. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are being led, and I, the faithful one, will never withdraw my promise of a life made whole for you. All I ask is that you dare to let go of what no longer belongs to you. My beloved child, there is no journey toward higher ground that does not pass through a crossroads of separation. There is no ascension that holds on to what keeps you tethered to the ground. My child, you cannot take flight if your wings remain tied to burdens that have long become too old and too toxic. You cannot walk freely if you are still silently dragging the invisible chains of fear, trauma, and emotional entanglements left unresolved. You cannot long for clear skies when your heart is crowded with nameless clouds. I have heard your prayers for clarity, for joy, for true love and lasting peace. And yet, I have also seen you continue to make space in your heart and mind for voices that do not speak life, words that erode your faith, people who are no longer whole, but whom you keep holding on to only because you are afraid to be alone. My child, I do not judge you for this. I understand your hesitation. I understand the fear of facing emptiness after letting go, the disorientation when something once familiar no longer serves as an anchor. I see the struggle within you, caught between reason urging you to walk away and your heart whispering, just a little longer. But you were not born to dwell in this in-between space forever. You were not called to inhabit chaos, but to carry light, the very light I ignited within you. And that light cannot shine if you continue standing in the shadows of what is dimming your soul. You keep making excuses for those who do not deserve them. You justify the lack of kindness, the apathy, the harm, the blurred boundaries. You say they are trying, that they never meant to hurt you. You downplay the wounds, as though telling yourself that if you don't acknowledge them, they cease to exist. But the truth is, pain does not disappear just because you close your eyes. What is not confronted will continue to hurt you from within. You may try to hide it, suppress it, present yourself as whole, but I see it all. I see the fatigue growing heavy in your spirit, the fading light in your eyes, and the loneliness buried deep in what you've never dared to say aloud. I did not come to command you to sever ties with cruelty, but I came to make one thing clear. You can no longer nourish what is killing the life within you. I am calling you to truth, not a harsh and cold truth, but a gentle, unwavering one. That truth may make you tremble at first, but it will be the beginning of your freedom. I am calling you to courage, not a loud bravery, but a quiet resolve to release what is familiar in order to receive what is better. I am calling you to clarity, the kind of clarity you lost when you silenced your inner voice, when you shrank from your truth out of fear that living honestly would mean being left behind. You were not made to live in that suffocating atmosphere. My spirit is not one of persistent suffering. I did not mold you to endure each day as a brutal test. I do not desire you to wake up confused, to live in anxiety, torn between love and self-doubt. You were made to live in strength, mental, spiritual, and perceptive strength. You were created to walk in love, true, healthy love that does not wound you, that does not make you pay for your worth. You were given a sound mind not to be eroded by double talk, ambiguous actions, or relationships that make you feel like you're balancing on the edge of a cliff. And this I say to you, with all the love and truth within me. Anything that continually robs you of your clarity, be it a person, a thought, or a habit, is not from me. Anything that causes you to question your worth, that leads you away from my voice, that makes you afraid to live in your truth, is not for you. And it is time, my child, it is time to stop giving space to those things in your sacred place. You cannot keep inviting them to dine at the table of your soul while they shatter every glass of joy, soil every cloth of hope, and dilute the sweetness of your peace. I do not fault you for loving. Love is never wrong. But let me remind you, love does not mean sacrificing yourself for that which does not honor your soul. Forgiveness does not mean they must stay. Gentleness does not mean letting yourself be used. Humility does not mean living forever in silence and pain. You cannot preach light while you gather your pieces each night after being dimmed by neglect. You cannot speak of peace when your heart trembles from a single careless message or word. It is time to choose, not between love and lovelessness, but between what is right and what no longer fits, between what I have destined and what you are reluctantly keeping, between life and slow depletion. I always honor the free will I placed in you. But today, I am whispering into your soul, let go. Come back to me. Choose the light, because you deserve to live fully, and I cannot bear to watch my most beloved child live halfway for even one more day. My precious one, it is time to release. Stop holding on to what your heart already knows is no longer right, no longer alive, no longer nurturing your spirit. Let them go, not out of hatred, not out of coldness, but because you've grown enough to understand that true love is not captivity and does not need chains to prove its worth. Place them in my hands. You do not need to grip so tightly, fearing that if you let go, everything will collapse. I am here steady, all-knowing, and merciful. I will care for what you entrust to me. I will keep what you lift up in love. You have cried in surrender. You have felt your heart break as you let go of someone you once believed was essential. But my child, there is nothing you give up for me that will not be replaced by something better, deeper, and perfectly timed. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to trust. Trust that I see what your eyes cannot. Trust that I know the motives behind hearts when all you can see is the surface. Trust that I am reading the whole story when you are only partway through a long, unfinished chapter. I know you have prayed for peace, for healing, for a love that will not hurt you, and I am ready to give it all. But child, you must make space for me to give it. Your soul is filled with too much noise, fragments of expectation, of promises left unkept, of responsibilities you placed upon yourself just to hold on to someone who didn't want to stay. You are loyal to things I never asked you to carry. You are clinging to relationships that drain you rather than give you life. There can be no room for the sacred if the toxic still reigns. There can be no light breaking through if your heart is still wrapped in the darkness of distorted bonds. You must clear it out deliberately, gently, like a gardener who knows what must be pruned for the tree to grow, like one who discerns, not out of anger or panic, but through holy clarity, with a heart that still hears me amidst the clamor. You asked me, why must it hurt this way? Why? When I choose what is right, does my heart bleed? And I tell you, I'm not leading you into pain for the sake of suffering. I am bringing you through the breaking so you may step into healing. For sometimes, the greatest gift I can give you is not fixing what is broken, but allowing it to fall away so you may finally receive what I have always prepared for you. What lies ahead is not a desert. It is the promised land where people will look at you with pure eyes. Listen without manipulation. Be present without control. These people will see your light not as a threat but as a beauty. They will not require you to shrink so they can be comfortable. They will lift you, encourage you, walk beside you, not to possess you, but to journey with you. Ahead are friendships that do not burden your heart, that do not make you feel wrong for being yourself. A love that is not a battlefield, a bond that does not chain, deceive, or demand that you sacrifice all your beauty just to keep someone around. But to reach that land, you must be willing to leave the old behind. You must let go of those who pull you backward, those who fear your light because they've never faced their own darkness. You cannot soar while clutching a stone. You cannot rise while shackled by fear, the fear of abandonment, of loneliness, of never finding another. But child, that fear is not from me. I did not give you a spirit of fear. I gave you power, love, and a sound mind. I did not call you out of the lowly place to leave you in the wilderness. I called you to lead you into life abundant, hope-filled life. You think you must settle because you are not worthy of more. But I tell you, you have always been worthy of the good. From the moment I engraved your name on my palm, from the moment I wove your soul from threads of pure love, I have never forgotten you. And what you release today will never compare to what is waiting to be received. You only need the courage to take the first step in trust, one step at a time. Remember this: there is no obedience given to me that goes unrewarded, no tear shed for me that I will not dry and turn into a seed that blossoms. I see you, I love you, and I am waiting for you on the other side of letting go, where peace is not something you chase, but the air you breathe each day. Let go, my beloved, not because you lost, but because you are being set free, not because you are not enough, but because you are being called to a place where you can be your full self, whole, strong, loved, and truly free. And of all the things you may leave behind, there is one that will never leave you: me. Still, me, the one who never changes, never leaves, and never stops loving. And I will walk with you forever. Now, with a humble heart and open hands, lift your head toward me and offer the most sincere prayer from the depths of your soul. Almighty God, the one who has called me out of darkness, I come before you today with a broken spirit and empty hands. I have clung to things that do not belong to me for far too long. I have held on to people whom you are gently removing from my life. I believed I could fix things on my own, that I could change someone by my own strength. But I now realize I am weary from doing what only you, in your perfect love and power, are able to do. Please, Lord, help me to let go. Grant me the strength to lay this burden at your feet and walk forward in faith. Though it hurts, though I feel regret, though I am confused, I still choose to trust that you see further, know deeper, and love me more than I could ever love myself. Do not let me return to what you have called me to leave behind. Loving Father, you see motives when I can only see actions. I ask you to shine your light so I may discern what is truly of the light and what is darkness cloaked in sweetness. Uproot every toxic bond that is suffocating my heart. I no longer want to live in the comfort of lies. I long for truth, even if it wounds me. Please grant me divine discernment so I will not mistake resignation for loyalty, nor confusi chaos for peace. Protect me from relationships that only lead me away from you. Bring me back to the place where I can live authentically, be honored, and grow in love that comes from you without having to sacrifice my soul. Faithful God, I thank you for not letting me continue in my misdirection. Though I resisted, clung on, and tried to flee, you still gently led me back. I thank you for taking away the false peace found in a misaligned relationship, for not letting me sleep in what was silently destroying my soul. Thank you for never withdrawing from me, even when I turned my back on you. I am grateful for a love that never retracts, for a light that never fades. Lord, you are the refuge of my soul, and I thank you for being the one I can always return to. While others may turn away, your arms are always open. I am grateful for the peace you give, not dependent on circumstances, not swayed by emotion. Thank you for not only helping me release what was never mine to hold, but for returning abundantly more than I ever surrendered with an honest heart. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.